And I'm going to continue this one just by showing the Edinburgh Village. And I'm going to go ahead and show the Hustler magazine. Larry Flint did an editorial April of '84, political campaign. Um, and I'm just going to show you I'd written about, this one was done after I came to Roanoke, but about mind control murders. This was a Fort Hood shooter who was born here in Roanoke, Vinton. He was a psychiatrist. Went to Virginia Tech, where the Virginia Tech shootings, April the 16th of '07 happened, and there's a list of murders that happened there that were done in patterns in mind control, and at University of Virginia. But I want to go into what they've been doing to me, because of my immune disorder, and that's deadly. And over the years, if you force fed it like they've done me, uh, coming into my room, they have it pre-done. I was told by law enforcement themselves that the FBI come in they said at least 6 months ahead of me. They set it up and they tell other law enforcement that they're not supposed to help me, that if they do, they'll be treated like everybody else. They'll find something on them and they'll prosecute them. But that doesn't mean, in this whole thing, it's so mind-boggling. The FBI, I'm not sure if they weren't there, that the local law enforcement wouldn't have done worse things to me, and I can assure you that. So it gets into who, I've been beaten and battered in ways you can't believe. I can't believe mankind. They all were religious, and they must have forgotten the Ten Commandments. Which one of them did they not understand? It was all, they did it because the law threatened them, would get things on them, and they weren't going to have to pay for it. And quite frankly, a lot of them thought it was cute that they could kidnap the real Queen of England, Victoria the Second, and do all these things to me. They really thought it was cute. So here's Jennifer. I went there and had to leave because they soaked me in chemicals and were told to. The maintenance and the management, which is her, and Donna. By the way, Donna's the secretary, I think, still is. Back then, she came by my table. She was friendly. And she bent down and she said, you shouldn't kill the messenger, right? And now when I've had to go back trying to get a place to stay, I'm living in a motel, have been for a while, and she's really rude. It's bad enough to have to go in here to the same people that should be locked up. They joined into a conspiracy to control where I live, to run me out. This is HUD, if nothing else. And this is what should go before the Justice Department. But then, I can't get an attorney. So anyway, I had to go back here after this happened in '06, and I left for health. I was dying. And then I went to, because then you got the agriculture department, which was under Goodlatte, who was over the agriculture and the law enforcement and the rangers that would come and run me when I tried to tent. He is now over the Judiciary Committee. This is Goodlatte. He knows all of this. His office is here in Roanoke. Okay, so I'm getting run from one place to the other, and it's a hideous living. I'm a woman. A man couldn't have done it. So here is Richville, which I've always said nice things about them, but they weren't nice to me. It was a beautiful place, and Terry Sawyer, who's in this whole thing, the mess that's been done to me, I don't get a place to stay unless they've gone ahead of me, and when they go ahead of me, they have the chemicals set up. Well, the same thing happened here, and Terry Sawyer was supposed to have been a wrestler. And you're getting into some stuff here. You think Edward Snowden spilled the beans. You ought to hear some of the real truth that's going on, too, that's happened to you people here, citizens here in this country. But anyway, I was taken to Richfield. Terry Sawyer took me there. So I got in a few months later in, I think it was March of, '08, and had a studio apartment. Really nice around there. And I've always said, I've never said any different. That was a beautiful place. It's campus, and I thought I'd die, and I almost did before I left there. Had to go en route to the emergency room. Everything when the chemicals were, I was soaked with them. And they finally stopped at urgent care, and that's where the doctor really gave me the information that I thought would counteract what they were doing to me. I knew what they were doing. The law enforcement goes in, sets it up. They participate in it, the management and the maintenance, and nobody does anything about it. It looks like I have just up and moved. They're not going to incriminate themselves. That I've up and moved and broke a lease, and since I have nowhere to go, a couple of times I've left a few things. You don't get any of the truth there. But anyway, Richfield, I ended up staying for about 3 months, and it hurt like heck having to live the way I. Let me remind you, I'm supposed to live in Buckingham Palace, and all the other castles that Elizabeth has occupied. She's using my money, and so now I want to get back to. I went back to Edinburgh in October, and I sent another application to Richfield. Now, this is after I'd been there and had to leave, and they've soaked me. This is fast forward to now. This was '06 and '08 at Richfield. Then I went to Joseph's Dream, by the way, which is where Terry Sawyer took me, because I don't get a place unless one of them take me, and it's already set up. Well, it was brand new. It's owned by Reverend Moore out of Washington, North Carolina. He has a whole bunch of those retirement homes, and they're all like Joseph's Dream, Joseph's Way. This was in Bedford, and they're brand new. There was only about 4 or 5 residents living there when I moved in. I moved in on January the 1st, a new, unoccupied before apartment, and right away, July the 1st, the air conditioning goes out. The men to walk through the door. All hell breaks loose in the room where the air conditioning is, a little closet-like. Suddenly there's leaks. And there's mold and mildew all over everything, and it's being sucked up into the system. Besides the chemicals, they are force-feeding me. And I can't explain what all it was done to me with the knowledge of Ellis was her last name, and right at the moment I can't remember her first name, was manager at Joseph's Dream on Joseph's Way in Bedford. This should be prosecuted federally and everything, but since the feds and the law enforcement are involved, who's going to prosecute it unless Great Britain can somehow manage to get it into a world court that isn't afraid of the United States, okay? So I'm not even going to go into all that happened there. I stayed there 7 months, sucking it up. One of the people that lived next door to me, and I'm going to go ahead and say her name was Beverly, and I questioned who she really is or where she gets all her information because she knew too much. She said to me, and I already knew it because it makes me look nuts, and this has been the whole thing. I'm the one that told the truth, and it's unbelievable what people have done to me. She said, what they're doing to you, this is July the 1st of 2011, and I finally left February the 28th. Wow. There's something to that date. But anyway, of 2012, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to leave. And but she told me, and she wouldn't tell me in my apartment because she knew it was bugged. I'd have to go outside with her. But if you say things like this, especially if you tell someone, even everybody around here knows that they do in Huntsville, and my God. But there are things that someone can say, well, that's crazy. You're not the Queen of England.